from Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.
The 15,000 initial doses of Russian COVID vaccine Sputnik V are in transit to the Philippines. A Facebook post by Philippine Ambassador to Russia, Carlos Soreta, shows the loading of the shipment. Soreta says it left Moscow April 29th and is expected to arrive in Manila on May 1st. The delivery to the Philippines of the initial batch of Sputnik V was delayed twice due to logistical issues. Upon arrival, the Russian vaccines will be distributed to 5 selected Metro Manila cities.
Papilot test muna po natin sa Metro Manila, and then titingnan po natin kung gaano ka-critical yung handling. Once na makaka-acclimatize na tayo, magkaroon tayo ng experience curve on the handling of these vaccines, ay magagawa na po natin na pwede na po natin i-deliver yan either in areas of Davao and also in Cebu.
Over 2 million more doses of Sputnik V are expected to be delivered to the Philippines this May.
The vaccine is based on human adenovirus vector technology. The technology has been widely used for more than 40 years in making drugs and vaccine, so it is absolutely safe. Sputnik V showed efficacy of 97.6%.
Due to the limited global supply of vaccines, the DOH admits achieving herd immunity will take time.
Yeah, worst case scenario, siguro until about the first quarter of 2022. The vaccines don't come as expected.
Yeah.
Kasi ang dami niyan, di ba? We had Pfizer, they said it was gonna come through the February. Tomorrow, May na tayo, wala pa rin. So, why? Talagang nako-corner ng mga mayayaman bansa ang kanilang mga bakuna. Sila gumagawa.
Despite supply issues, Galvez remains optimistic the country will be able to achieve herd immunity by year-end with the help of the private sector.
For this year, our country is expecting the arrival of at least 148 million doses from the 7 manufacturers in our vaccine portfolio. The government remains committed to its goal of inoculating 70 million Filipinos by year-end.
But ABS-CBN's data analytics head Edson Guido says with the current pace of vaccinations, it would take more than a decade for the government to reach its target.
It will take 10.7 years for the Philippines to reach 140 million doses. And 10.7 years from now is January 2032. We have 8 months if the target is the end of the year. So if that's 248 days, ideally, right now we should be inoculating 557,000 per day.
During Friday's vaccine summit, the local business community reiterated its call to hasten the procurement process.
The PCCI, together with the Philippine business community, have consistently called for the speeding up of the procurement process and rollout of vaccines to ensure the safety of the citizenry, boosting of consumer confidence, and for the recovery of our economy.
The sooner vaccination is carried out throughout the country, the sooner we can revive our economy confidence, rebuild businesses, and further open up the economy.
Companies expect their order of AstraZeneca vaccine doses to begin arriving in June. They're also willing to help should AstraZeneca vaccine doses from the COVAX facility intended for the government fail to arrive on time.
They requested and asked me if we can help them with 500,000 doses for those who took already their first dose. And of course, we said yes, we would support them. That is in the absence, if the vaccines of AstraZeneca and COVAX does not arrive on May or June.
Vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. ViaTimes for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. ViaTime has very interesting columnists. You name it, ViaTimes has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call ViaTimes at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica segment of the show. Today, I am honored to have as my guest Mr. Renato Villa. He's from the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., and he is the Deputy Chief of Mission. Number 2 man there. Hi, Mr. Villa. Welcome to our show. Mr. Villa will be talking about the current and critical COVID issues in the Philippines, and also with regard to the much needed vaccines there. He's here to appeal or to procure through the U.S. government and vaccine manufacturers in the U.S. To help the Philippines about vaccination. Mr. Villa, welcome to our show. And first thing, can you please brief us about what the current situation of COVID in the Philippines, briefly?
Yes, ma'am. We have the latest data as of today, May 1. So far, since the pandemic began in March 2020, we have had 1,046,653 cases. Of those cases, 957,000 or about 91.4% have recovered. And as of now, we have 6.9% or 72,248 active cases. And sadly, there were 17,354 deaths, or representing 1.66% of the total number of cases. So, but as of April 29, there were 51,591 tested, and 16.8% of them tested positive. But on a positive note, 96.7% of them have mild and asymptomatic cases.
Mr. Villa, these numbers that you just read to us, is it mostly concentrated in the city or in provinces?
Concentrated, ma'am, in the national capital region.
I see.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, not really good so far. I mean, the numbers that you read. But the Philippines really, as a country, really need help. And as a third world country, of course, the medical help is always almost quite far. With that, it can be compared. Do you think it can be compared with what's going on in India?
We have less serious, far less serious naman po ang ating situation sa Pilipinas, and hopefully we can have the vaccines coming in very soon.
Okay. To tell you the truth, I just had an uphill battle fighting COVID. Last month I was tested positive, and it's horrible. And I thought I wouldn't be able to get over it. Thank God.
Yes, yes. More, you are really blessed, ma'am, to have survived COVID.
Thank you. And okay, for vaccine, we cannot be vaccinated until after 90 days if after you've had COVID. Anyway, let's talk about the vaccine and procurement updates. You're here. Your job right now is to procure vaccines for the Filipino people. And so far, how are you doing in reaching out?
Through the valiant efforts of our staff, particularly Ambassador Romualdez, we now have vaccine ready for delivery, particularly the Moderna vaccines. We have signed a trilateral agreement. 13 million doses was procured by the Philippine government, 7 million doses by the private sector, and it is now undergoing FDA process approval in the Philippines. And also we have contracted vaccines from Novavax, which is a US company, but their vaccines are produced in India. And also we have supply agreement signing this week from Johnson & Johnson, 6 to 10 million doses. Expected arrival third and fourth quarter of this year. And we also have signed contracts and continuing negotiation with the Gamaleya National Center. This is the Russian company, which is producing the so-called Sputnik vaccines for 10 to 20 million doses. And through the COVAX facility of the World Health Organization, expected to arrive the second, some 2.4 million doses of Pfizer vaccines expected to arrive the second quarter. Of course, as you know, Sinovac vaccine continuing deliveries of 25 million doses. So that would be around more than 120 million doses expected.
Wow, I think that's already enough, right?
More than enough, ma'am, because under our vaccination program, we hope to vaccinate around 70 million Filipinos in order to achieve herd immunity and reopen our economy.
Wow, congratulations. Sounds good. You have more than enough. And okay, how will the government administer or distribute this in the Philippines?
We will distribute this firstly through the local government units, the city and town governments, so that the farthest, most remote barangay will be reached. And in fact, now there is ongoing registration of those who would need to avail of the vaccine down to the barangay level.
Is it free?
It is free. Those procured by the government, ma'am, it is free. But for the 7 million doses of Moderna vaccine procured by the private sector, of Enrique Razon, the companies will purchase the vaccine for their employees for free. So the companies will pay.
The companies will pay for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but they're going to mandate the employees to be vaccinated, right?
Right, ma'am. So the private sector of the Philippines decided to participate in order to free up the government from the responsibility of vaccinating the very essential workers, so that their businesses can open, and of course, with that, our economy will recover soonest.
So, what is the estimated timeline to have a vaccinated community or a vaccinated country?
As per our target, ma'am, our timeline, hopefully before the end of this year, we as I mentioned, we will have we can achieve herd immunity, and then we can fully reopen, ma'am.
Sounds good. All right. So maybe we can visit the Philippines after that. We've been really eager to go to the Philippines for vacation, but we really can't these days for the last year and this year. All right. Okay. So, Filipino American community like us here in Chicago, we are quite active and really concerned about what's going on in the Philippines because we really, even though we've lived here for many years, we still love our mother country. And so, how can we help?
Ma'am, in fact, there is an ongoing campaign by Filipino community organizations. They are sending letters to the White House, to President Biden, as well as to their U.S. senators and representatives and various officials. So urging these officials to send the vaccines procured by the Philippines, particularly Moderna, earlier. Because Moderna, we expect the first batch of around 250,000 by June. So we are urging them to these officials to send them earlier and increase the volume. As well, we are also the community are also targeting to appeal to the Biden administration that the Philippines should have a share of the 60 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines in the stockpile of the U.S. government. So sana lang man at least 5 million doses will be allocated for the Philippines out of the 60 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines, ma'am.
Correct. Well, I'm wondering because of the long distance from U.S. to the Philippines, when the vaccines arrive there, vaccines should really be refrigerated, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I wonder if they can maintain the refrigeration through transport.
Yes. From, of course, the vaccine manufacturers under the contract guaranteed na yung cold storage, and upon arrival in the Philippines, the pharmaceutical company Zuelig has the storage facilities, cold storage facilities at the right temperature to safe keep the vaccines.
I see. Okay. Are you aware of the community pantries from the Phil-Am communities? Have you heard about that? It says
yes, ma'am.
some kind of bayanihan.
So, in fact, ma'am, Ambassador Romualdez is urging the Filipino community to contribute to your favorite community pantries in the Philippines, the one you can trust, that are reliable, such as church groups, charitable foundation, and NGOs, and support them.
I see. Okay. All right. I think we have enough information from you about what's going on in the Philippines regarding COVID and vaccine. But Mr. Villa, one last word for our community.
Yes, ma'am. For the community who wants to help, of course, if you wish to send some monetary donations, you can reach out to the DSWD, send your donations there. They have go to the official website of the DSWD, SW Donation Assistance, and there are many other informal channels, NGOs, and citizen-led initiatives to send your monetary assistance, or direct, of course, as that you mentioned, the community pantries, ma'am.
Community pantries.
Yes.
All right, very good. This is a very informative interview, and we can still have updates later on. So don't hesitate to contact the Cprtv, Mr. Villa, or even the Philippine Embassy, and say hi to Ambassador Romualdez. Maraming salamat po. At well, I really enjoyed interviewing you and getting all this information from you. At maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, I have a very interesting guy who will be talking about healthcare, but it's something different. And he's helping a lot of people out there. And help me introduce him first. His name is Michael Colura. And he will be talking to us about his company that he founded named Matthews. Welcome to our show, Michael.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's a local. He is from Carpentersville, Illinois. I invited him today to talk about Matthews. What is Matthews?
Matthews is a training center focused on the certification process for quality caregivers that are widely needed within our industry all across the country today.
And okay, you are not, Michael is not a Filipino and he's not a nurse. So we'll know more about him, why he's doing this Matthews. And Matthews stands for what?
Matthews was actually, the name comes from my younger brother who died. He died very young, and I wanted to memorialize him in a way that mattered because of what Matthews does and its mission to give back and help other people. I felt that it was a proper way to remember him by naming the company after him, knowing that we were going to be able to do so much good with it.
Oh, terrific. In honor of your deceased brother.
Yes.
That's very good. And okay, that's how you got started with Matthews. And okay, what can you explain briefly to our viewing audience what you do with Matthews or with this company?
Certainly. Matthews will provide the training and certification necessary for caregivers to attain work, but it goes a step further than just that. Matthews has been involved with some of my other brands to provide sponsorship opportunities to foreign workers. And these are individuals already in the US or overseas in the Philippines looking to enter this industry. We have a sponsorship program that allows us to navigate US Department of Labor and the US Immigration and Customs programs in order to achieve work authorizations, visas, and we even have permanent residency and green card success stories with our Filipino workforce that have been here. In fact, as I was mentioning earlier, one of our sponsored workers, his wife and children will be joining him from the Philippines in just a few weeks. They're going to be just another success story for us.
You said that you are sponsoring, you're talking about immigration sponsorship, right?
That's correct.
for the Filipinos or any caregivers from abroad or just the Philippines?
Our focus has been on the Philippines initially, given my wife's story with her family and how they immigrated to the U.S. And just hearing about the process and understanding the heartache that they went through, being separated as a family for so long to go through the process, back in the 80s and 90s, and our focus was there. However, we are expanding this year. The company is expanding, or the program is expanding into 9 other countries of origin, where our program will be made available. So we will become a global organization here by 2023.
I'm kind of curious. You sponsor caregivers, not nurses, right?
We will sponsor caregivers, nurses, and therapists.
And nurses and therapists. Okay. And from the Philippines. Okay. Once, and you are sponsoring them. You're not a lawyer, right?
No, I am not a lawyer. We do work with some lawyers. We work with a law office that does specialize in this. It actually is a Filipino attorney that we work with. He and his team are from the Philippines as well. I am not a lawyer, so we do work with them, and they do help us with all the legal navigation and documentation that's needed for the process.
So, okay, they have to go through the immigration process for sure. But like, I'm going to give you a scenario.
Sure.
If a Filipina from the Philippines would be interested in coming over and work as a caregiver, but they don't have the accreditation from a school, how can they do that?
That's why we have Matthews. Matthews will certify them according to the state standards, so that when the day they land on U.S. soil, they are able to work. And it's not just an ability to locate a job. This is long-term sustainable work, which is one of those requirements that we all know that the U.S. government looks for, so that they don't fall within social services. And nobody under our program has ever fallen to a social services or slipped through the cracks. We have been able to sustain them long-term comfortably. And it's just another level of some of our success, because if they don't have the accreditation for, say, a caregiver, that's why Matthews launches next month online, and the entire program is online in 46 states here in the U.S.
They can access the online program once they are here, or even before coming here?
They could access it beforehand, and depending on the attorney's recommendations, sometimes it can be an advantage for them to already be certified and show that to the U.S. government, to say that I've already passed certification based on the state standards. Or we've had instances where people were already in the U.S. and then received the certification accreditation, and we've been able to very quickly get them a work authorization due to the high demand for this job industry and this job code here in the U.S.
Yes, there is quite a high demand.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you mentioned that you are expanding.
Yes.
Expanding your business. Are you having more branches all over the country?
So we actually do. Our primary business brand is actually a caregiver agency, a home services agency, and that business is actively expanding all across the country. We offer franchise opportunities. I know I'm not here to talk about that today, but yes, that brand is expanding, which only offers more of an advantage for our sponsorship program, because my bigger brand that would hire and retain these workers through the program is in several states already.
All right, very good. Congratulations. Yeah,
Thank you.
You founded the company in, did you say 2008?
Matthews was founded in 2008. That's correct. Yes.
2008. Okay. Now, are you the only, because this is the first time I've heard of a company like yours. Do you have other competitors out there?
Well, there are certainly a handful of companies that do offer some level of training for caregivers. They caregivers is the common term for somebody. CNA is another term, certified nursing assistant or home service worker. But there are a handful of companies that do this. However, we are the only company that we've been able to identify that not only offers the training and certification at this level, offers an immigration sponsorship program, and is able to offer the work as well too, tied into the sponsorship program through the various brands that we open and we operate. So, yes, there's definitely competition out there, but I haven't found anybody that's doing it quite like we are. And that's part of the reason why we're here today and seeking influencers, because just as you said, you haven't heard of it before. And why is that? There's almost a feeling of, if it's too good to be true, it is. And that's what we've seen happen for the last decade. I've got over 10 years of success stories of people. Some of them today are US citizens now because of our program, and where our program started them. And through several different presidential administrations, we've navigated this. And as I started off by saying, one of our sponsored workers, his family will be joining him after an extended separation while he was here in the US trying to get them. He couldn't get it done until he joined our program, and our attorneys made it happen for him. So, I mean, this isn't magic. We just got some good lawyers that know how to navigate this. And we have a program put together that overcomes some of those obstacles to help people achieve what is widely known as the American dream.
Do you have a number of people that you've helped so far?
We do, actually. It's public record. If anybody wants to Google search us, if they search the name In-Home Personal Services, the U.S. Department of Labor does have us registered as a foreign registry employer, meaning they actually track our stats, how many applications we have submitted, the country of origin of that worker, and the ability for us to be successful with that. There's a lot of them still in processing. That is accurate. But we also have a YouTube channel. If you go to ihps.com, go to our YouTube channel, and we actually have on camera some of these very same families and their stories, talking about their success with the program. And at the end of the videos, they all hold up their green cards. So, I mean, you don't acquire a green card in the US by mistake. And, these were programs, and through their own words, they can share with you how we were able to do this.
In other words, in-home personal services, or Matthews, you have two names, right, for the company?
Well, I own multiple companies, and multiple brands, and that's part of the recipe of what makes this work, is that I'm able to solve some obstacles in this process because we have the other brand and the other business that we own and control. So it's something that's been able to help us navigate a few of these cases the right way, with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as the Department of Labor, in order to satisfy certain requirements to get people those work authorizations or those visas.
So far, do you have any challenges in this business?
Right now, our number one challenge obviously has been the COVID pandemic. It has been, because we're in the healthcare space, it has been very difficult. But our team was dedicated, and we had some locations that were here in Illinois that were hotspots for the spread of the virus within some nursing homes, and my team was in place and servicing those residents. And many of my team members were not taking days off. They did not want to leave their case, and they did not hide from the virus. They stood fast. They demonstrated what true courage is, and putting themselves legitimately at risk as a frontline responder. These caregivers were there, and we're very proud of every one of them. And the outcomes today have been obviously we're very lucky. Not a single patient within our agency died of COVID. And we care for senior citizens every day. Our caregivers are there on those front lines, and they did a phenomenal job.
Okay, very good. How many trainers do you have so far? I mean, currently.
So we have, I have two directors of training. One is a nurse. She writes all of our program and content material. The other is a veteran certified nursing assistant herself, 30 plus years in the industry. They are my two primary trainers in the industry within Matthews. And then I have a handful of, 7 additional trainers that will pick up any of the overflow or any in the field or on the job or return demonstration style training at the school.
Do you have testimonials on your online website?
We do. Testimonials for the Matthews program are on at matthews.education. You'll be able to find the links to all of our social media, and you can hear directly from the people that have gone through the program themselves. And as I mentioned before, at ihps.com, you can link to that brand's social media, and this is where the individuals end up working with us. And the testimonials and the video on our YouTube channel will say it all.
All right, Michael, congratulations with this spectacular job that you're doing, serving the community. And how many percentage are Filipinos in your company?
I would say it's about 50-50 right now. 9 out of 10, I should say, 9 out of 10 of the leadership and executive positions are filled by Filipino American individuals, including Iris Santiago. She is the chief operations officer of all the brands, and there are 5 companies in total. So she's the chief operations officer of all 5. She immigrated into the U.S. from the Philippines with us back in, she arrived in 2007. So.
One last question. There's quite a few caregiving companies, Filipino caregiving companies here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So are you a competitor to them? No.
I don't think so. I see myself as a resource for them. Yes, I do compete with them as in-home personal services. However, I have several competitors here in the Chicagoland area that are actively converting their company over to our brand. And there's an abundance of value and benefits for them to do that, to be part of a bigger company and a bigger brand and still be their own entrepreneur running their own business. So I don't see myself as a competitor from that position. The other thing is about the training with Matthews and what that company does. We train caregivers for our competitors. We do it all the time. Our training is just better from the quality perspective, from some of the technology that we use in the training, and the just the methodology is unique, and it produces a better caregiver. And I've had caregivers, veterans, 10 years plus experience, go through our program and come out of it with a new realization, a new empathy, a new understanding that they otherwise never knew was missing from their career. And after going through our program, they realize I should have been here 10 years ago.
Wow. So far, so good. You're doing a great community service. And I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations to your Matthews. And you're welcome to keep us updated with what you're doing. Okay.
We will do that. We will do that. Salamat po.
Okay. And your wife is Filipina. Say hi to her.
I will. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Michael, thank you. Bye.
So we'd like to welcome the 5 o'clock group and to thank the Masons for performing the Masonic rites. For Joe, Baron, thank you for arranging that, and Edison for being here despite your pain. At this time, we'd like to invite the friends of Joe. Anybody else would like to share a few thoughts? Baron, since you were in charge of you did already? I'll wait for a little. You'll wait for a little bit, okay. Who else would like to share something about Joe? We have a few minutes, to do some sharing. Anthony? Yes. Anthony is our resident videographer and a good friend of ViaTimes Cprtv. He was in our first and only musical director of the ViaTimes group. So, Anthony.
Joe, you will be sorely missed. I always joke, kay Joe, Joe, when I grow up, I just want to be just like you. Because Joe is always has this zest on life. He's always fun. You never see him down. And he's always this unique way of meeting you, giving you a handshake. And I always want to see him, I always want to joke that Joe is like a DOM, but he said, no, I'm not, I'm just old, I'm not dirty. So, but Joe, I love Joe. I mean, Joe is the embodiment of somebody who loves life, who loves to make people laugh, who wants to connect people. Joe has furnished me a lot of leads on business, and it panned out to be very good indeed. And that's what I always like Joe. He would do things for you without expecting anything in return. Joe, love you, miss you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony Andeleon.
Yeah, and Dr. Thank you also for being there, being the quiet one besides. We also would like to call on Veronica's, you have the claim to fame. Veronica's longest friend. I don't want to use the word oldest. They react differently to that term. So Deli Villalon is Veronica's longtime friend. Flor Kramer said you take the crown for that one. So Deli, she was also the past chairman of PIWC and also the PMAC auxiliary. Deli has known Veronica for so many years. I'm not going to say how many years because again, we're dating ourselves. So Deli, you want to say a few words about Joe? And Veronica can see you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like she said, I'm Deli Villalon. I'm the oldest friend. Of course, we are about the same age as Veronica. So we are really good friends. We are 25 years old. Joe will definitely miss you. But what I feel very sad right now is my best friend, Veronica, losing Joe. I always tell Veronica, you are so blessed. Please help me find somebody like Joe. Joe has been her life in the last 25 years, and I really feel she's so blessed to have Joe for her husband. Joe has been a very good friend, and I remember when I used to work in the evening, I was an on-call nurse. And I work in the evening, and I spend my time in the evening with Veronica. And Joe will always be there cooking for us. We are there talking, and she was a very good friend to the friends of Veronica. And I really, like I said, Veronica is so blessed. My friend is so blessed to have Joe, and Joe will miss you. I'm very sure the community will miss you. Like he said, he's full of fun. When he is there in the party, you know that the party will be having fun. He's really alive when he's there. I mean, he is full of joy. And so, Joe, I really wish you will have your rest peaceful rest in heaven with the angels. And like I said, we'll miss you. Veronique, I feel very sad. I know that you are going to miss Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, bye-bye.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon. This is Brigitte Carino Cueter bringing you this week's local news from our community. The Gilroy Garlic Festival Association announces the details for its 2021 legacy events. There will be a variety of events, socially distanced, virtual, and more, that showcase the distinctive food from Gourmet Alley at a series of drive-through events at Gilroy Presbyterian Church, a farm-to-table dinner at Fortino's Winery, and a golf tournament at Gilroy Golf Course. We have all been confronted with so many changes due to COVID-19. There is a great community desire to see the festival come back. Together we can work to reimagine a Gilroy Garlic Festival that will promote and honor everything that makes Gilroy truly the garlic capital of the world, said Tom Klein, current president of the association. The Gilroy Garlic Festival seeks to be more than one signature event. We will continue to work to connect our community with various smaller events, educational activities, and giving opportunities throughout the year. Our historic mission to strengthen the bonds within our community is an ongoing commitment. The Filipino American Lawyers Association of Chicago, FALA Chicago, is pleased to announce the expansion of its pro bono clinic, AGILA, Attorneys Giving Legal Advice, with a campaign to provide powers of attorney to healthcare frontliners and essential workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Launched in partnership with Chicago Volunteer Legal Services, CVLS, during the spring of 2018, AGILA is the first and only pro bono legal clinic in the Midwest dedicated to delivering efficient legal aid to clients of limited means, with targeted outreach to underserved members of the Filipino American community. The Powers of Attorney service is a direct recognition of the pandemic's disproportionate impact on Filipino Americans, who notably make up 4% of registered nurses in the U.S. But according to a September 2020 report from National Nurses United, have accounted for almost a third of COVID-19 related nursing deaths. Despite putting themselves at great potential risk every day on the job, many healthcare frontliners and essential workers, especially those of immigrant backgrounds, have yet to determine how decisions about their own healthcare will be made in the event that they are incapacitated. With its team of trained volunteers, FALA Chicago hopes to make these notoriously difficult conversations easier for clients and their families. In-person consultation and notary services will also be offered once a month, every third Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. at Instituto de Progreso Latino in 2520 Southwestern Avenue in Chicago. Spring is prime moving season in Illinois and an opportunity for dishonest or rogue movers to take advantage of consumers. The Illinois Commerce Commission is urging residents planning to move to a new home to prepare well by researching the moving company before packing any boxes. Consumers can check to see if a household goods mover is properly licensed to operate in Illinois and check the number of complaints filed against each company through the ICC website by clicking here. This information can also be obtained by calling the ICC at 217-782-6448. Interstate moving companies in Illinois must be licensed by the ICC. If you are putting your property into storage, be sure the warehouse is licensed by the ICC, and if you are moving to another state, the mover must be licensed by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. The Department of Homeland Security announced an extension of the deadline from October 1st, 2021 to May 3rd, 2023 for U.S. citizens to take domestic flights or visit restricted federal facilities without the need for a real ID. The Secretary of Transportation and Public Works, Eileen M. Velez-Vega, urged citizens to apply for one and obtain one and to not wait until the last minute. Velez-Vega made the call jointly with the Executive Director of the Puerto Rico Federal Affairs Administration, PRFAA, Carmen M. Feliciano, stating that people do not have to wait until their licenses expire to make the change to a real ID, nor do they have to wait until May 2023. They can make an appointment as early as now through the CESCO CITAS system, either by using the CESCO digital mobile app or by logging onto cesco.turnospr.com and renewing their driver's license to comply with the Real ID format. We urge citizens not to leave this matter for the last minute. While it is true that for domestic flights, meaning between Puerto Rico, the 50 states, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, and the Virgin Islands, you can do so with your driver's license. It is also true that in some states, there have been reports of car rental dealers, for example, not renting to you if you do not have a license in the Real ID format. To avoid mishaps, we invite you not to leave it to the last minute to change or apply for your license or ID in Real ID format, the Secretary added. Attorney General Kwame Raoul applauded the Illinois House of Representatives and the Illinois Senate for bipartisan passage of his legislation that protects student loan borrowers from student loan debt relief companies that often prey on borrowers by charging high fees for services they cannot provide, such as loan forgiveness and cancellation. House Bill 3136, sponsored by Representative Mike Zalewski, and Senate Bill 669, sponsored by Senator Omar Aquino, both codify existing law to streamline the regulation and prosecution of student loan debt relief scams to better protect students from unfair, deceptive, and predatory practices. The legislation will allow the Attorney General's Office and the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, IDFPR, to address student loan debt relief scams on a systemic rather than case-by-case basis. HB 3136 was passed unanimously by the House, and SB 669 was passed unanimously by the Senate. Students from 25 Catholic high schools in the Archdiocese of Chicago came together to address racial inequity in response to the 2020 murder of George Floyd and its aftermath. The students and their faculty advisors, led by faculty experts from DePaul University's College of Education faculty, presented their ideas for building racial equality along with each school's commitment to racial justice, to Cardinal Blaise J. Cupich, Archbishop of Chicago, on Friday, April 16th in an online forum. Racism is not something one is born with. It's taught, and we need to do everything possible to break that cycle, and schools can be an important way to do so, Cardinal Cupich said. I am edified by the students' efforts in charting a path forward to break boundaries and to open their hearts for hard conversations and healing. The students and faculty advisors from each participating high school began meeting online with DePaul faculty in February to come up with solutions to problems at their respective schools, with the goal of examining the social construct of racism and actively working to dismantle racism. During the meetings, each school was asked to create a vision for racial justice in their school, which then was transformed to guide individual commitments to racial justice and equity. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Brigitte. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.